Welcome to a gentle yoga practice for all levels. I'm so happy that you decided to show up here on a Monday morning. I'd like to start by asking you to take a seat, and I will as well. You might want something under you just to elevate your hips. Start to find the ground underneath you. Root down to rise up. So right away, just feel that rooting down that causes length in your spine, like a lift, like a little string lifting through the top of your head. You can rest your hands wherever you'd like, on your legs, in your lap, at your sides. And when you're ready, close your eyes or just soften your gaze down. Bring your attention inward. Let yourself transition from the busyness of your life, the doing the things, to a moment of just being present in your body with your breath. There might be noise around you. My boys came home last night, so I am in the middle of joyful noise. But give yourself permission to sit inside of all of the noise of your life and just be here in this quiet, calm center where the sound of your breath is the most interesting thing. Amplify the sound of your breath just a bit, that whisper that rolls across the inside of your ears like a wave. And let that sound become your anchor to this place. Reminding yourself again and again and again to come back here to the place where healing, inner witnessing, and personal growth happens inside. Let each inhale help you sit a little taller, and each exhale help you relax a tiny bit more. Begin very soft and gentle movement with your shoulders. Shoulders up by your ears. Let the inner borders of your shoulder blades squeeze together and then press them down your back. Let this gentle, soft movement lead to bigger movement, just starting to find the little creases, the places in the shoulders where tension resides. And then pull your shoulders up by your ears and squeeze extra hard. Like you're just trying to wring out the tension in that trapezius muscle. Squeeze even tighter. Pull your ears down into your shoulders. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, drop your shoulders vigorously. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, squeeze really tight, tighter than usual. Inhale. Exhale, drop. Good. 1 more time. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Reach your arms out and up, palms coming up to the ceiling. Take a hold of one wrist and stretch that side of your body a little longer than the other. And then switch. Back and forth as you notice what's happening in your body. Today, I'd like to offer the concept of tolerance to our practice. And tolerance usually means to us kind of putting up with, settling with, accepting. Open your arms into a cactus shape and squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then reach again. So yoga asks us to go one step further from tolerance. Yoga asks us to actually embrace what is, not just tolerate. Reach high, squeeze low. 2 more times. Reach up high 1 more time, interlace your palms, press. The word for this in Sanskrit is santosha, contentment. So not only tolerating, but actually finding contentment with what is. Turning the palms down, slow motion, let your arms float down to your sides. We're going to take the left arm across the body, take a hold of that with your opposite arm and just feel that shoulder opening up. So if you find tightness or restriction or maybe even an injury or pain, instead of gritting your teeth and just tolerating, can you actually embrace, find contentment in the state of your body right now? Let that arm come up, slide the fingers to the elbows and just find a gentle stretch for your shoulder, your tricep. And then if that feels okay, go ahead and take a little side bend over, adding intensity to the stretch. And releasing that, let all 10 of your fingers float out to the sides. And then bring your right arm across, assist it with the left, feeling the back of the shoulder. So this practice will ask us to not only grit our teeth and be in a pose, but to actually embrace, be content with what we find in these postures. As a practice for being content with what is and what isn't in our lives. Slide the fingers to the elbows, lift, and gently stretch. Imagine if we could not only tolerate the difficult people in our lives, but actually find contentment with them. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Lean to one side if you'd like, increasing this stretch. Take a deep breath into the shoulder, the tricep, the waist. And then in super slow motion, release. Let's make a transition around to our knees. So moving any props that you've brought in. And when you come to your knees, take your knees a little bit wider, big toes touch. We're going to walk the hands forward and pull forward. So it's a little bit like up dog with your knees apart. So feeling kind of a stretch in your groin, your inner thighs. Exhale, pressing the hips back over the heels. Child's pose. And let's do that a few times. So spread your fingers wide, reach forward, find a little bit of a back bend, an inner thigh stretch, and exhale back. Coming forward. And pressing back. Settle here for a moment in child's pose. Let your elbows come down to the earth. So forearms, hands, and elbows are on the mat. And then we'll just swing our hips right and left, kind of like your hips are a little hammock. Rocking over the right heel and over the left. You might feel a little lift each side. You can make this movement as big or small as you like. attention to those abductors, the inner thighs, as you reach to one side, feeling that inner thigh stretch on the other. And coming back to neutral, let's raise up to tabletop. Patting under your knees if that feels helpful to you. Let's move through cat and cow. So start by lifting your tailbone, let your belly drop down, let your chest pull forward. The last thing that happens is the head lifts. And then move opposite, tuck your tailbone, round your middle back, chin to chest. Do that a few more times, tailbone leading the way. In the Vedas, the ancient teachings of yoga, we are taught again and again and again that there is no one right way. That each of us is finding our own journey, our own path to truth, to purpose, to what's right for us. So today, honor your own journey, your own way of doing things, so that you can also honor the other's way of doing things. Coming to neutral, tuck your toes, press your hips back over your heels, and stretch the uncomfortable place at the bottom of your feet. If you can, spread your toes wider, stretch under your big toe, under your second, third, fourth, and even pinky toes. Let this stretch travel to the middle of your foot, the arches. If you have plantar fasciitis, this is painful and necessary. Stretch it out. Widen your hands even more, press forward, and we're going to lift up into downward facing dog. Starting to pedal the heels and shift the weight. Breathe the breath. See if you can be a little bit more in your fingers and knuckles, a little bit less in your wrist. We're going to do a fun little loosening flow here. Little vinyasa. So inhale up onto your tippy toes, way up onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, hover your knees over your mat. Some people call this crouching tiger. Inhale, launch forward into plank pose. The legs straighten. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Let's do that again. Inhale to your toes. Exhale, knees hover over the mat. Inhale, launch forward, straighten your legs, and exhale, down dog. Let's do that little flow one more time. Toes, knees, launch, and back. And take a slow walk to the top of your mat. Feet just behind your wrists, knees soft. Take any version of forward fold that you like. Maybe it's ragdoll, or maybe holding on to your heels. You might be finding a little movement. You might be finding stillness. Just allow yourself to stretch the back of your body. And then press hands to shins. Find a nice long spine. Soften the knees and we'll sweep the arms up overhead. Extended mountain. Take your feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart, and let's move side to side. So on the exhale, drop one arm, lift the other. Just let those fingers reach toward knees. We'll come back up on the inhale and switch. That top arm Rather than reaching over, think of reaching up toward the ceiling. So you're just putting more length and space in your body. Go one more time in both directions. Reaching up high, interlace your fingers, palms press to the ceiling, stretch even taller. Press your palms to the sky, press your feet to the earth, and lengthen in two directions. You might feel some heat building up here. Muscles are contracting. Good. Let your hands come to the back of your head, elbows wide, and then press your head back into your hands. Elbows stay really wide. On your exhale, start to hug the elbows in toward your face. Tuck your chin and sink your hips down into chair. And then inhale, open everything back up again. Little back bend, elbows wide. Exhale, elbows in, sink down. Start to find Ujjayi breath, friends. That whisper breath that makes an H sound. Inhale, open your arms out wide into a T, palms up, press your thumbs back and just feel this new day. Tolerance is not enough to face a new day. We need to embrace, to step in, to find contentment with this Monday. Inhale your arms high. Exhale, hands to heart. And pause here for just a moment. Bring to mind just one small area in your life where you feel discontent. Just a place in your life where you're pushing against something or someone, where you have a desire that something is different, just one little area. And just for fun, just for a science project, let's see if for the next several minutes we can live in a space of contentment, santosha, with that little area of our lives and see what that feels like. Inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold, hinging from the hips. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. And instead of chaturangas today, we're going to do that little sequence we learned earlier. So we'll inhale up onto our toes. We'll exhale, hover the knees. Inhale, shooting forward into plank pose. And exhale back, down dog. And if you prefer the more traditional vinyasa, feel free. Just want to give our shoulders a little break today. Shifting forward into plank, drop the right knee to the ground. Kick that foot off the edge and open up into this T shape. So you've got your left leg extended, your right knee underneath you. We're going to move into gate pose, flowing gate, moving again into those side bodies, up and over. The fingertips just lightly touch the floor. And you're moving with your Ujjayi breath. The next step beyond contentment is joy, moving from pushing against to tolerance to contentment and eventually finding joy. Where are you on that continuum here with this movement? Let's take the arm overhead and stretch the side body as long as you possibly can. And returning the hand to the floor. Kicking the left foot off the edge, extend your right. Once you feel that foot planted, come up to the T shape and begin moving side to side with your breath. Your pace. And checking in again with this movement. Where are you on the continuum? Pushing against, tolerance, contentment, or joy. One more time. Up and over, stretch so far that you feel your shoulder pulling away from your ankle. And return to the floor. Tucking the toes, downward facing dog. Pedaling the heels. Let's take another of our little vinyasa for today. Inhale to your toes. Exhale, hover the knees. Inhale, launch forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then shifting forward, drop the right knee again. Kick the foot over to the edge and open into this side plank. Let's take the, let's see, so it's our left leg that's out. So right arm across, right arm across. We did this in the warm-up. Pull that elbow up, right arm behind your head. And holding that elbow, come up and over the side one more time. Really opening into those side bodies. Breathe here. Right side of your lungs, right side of your rib cage. And then releasing the arms, come down onto the fingertips, lift the left leg and take a hold of your ankle. And let's find a hip stretch here, hip flexor, belly, shoulder. Deep breaths. And release, bring the arm around. Come to your tabletop. The left knee stays put, pivot the left foot off, and open up again into the T. So now bring your left arm across your body. And holding on to the elbow, bring that arm up and back. And we'll take a side bend toward the extended right leg, stretching your left side now. Exaggerate your breaths into the left side of your body. And release. Arms open into a T, come down onto fingertips, lift the leg, and find that ankle. Kick back into your hand, let your chest push forward. Feel your hip, your belly, your chest, your shoulder. Feel your breath. Embrace whatever is here or not here right now. Contentment. And we'll return that arm around, tucking our toes into downward facing dog. And then our vinyasa. Inhale to toes. Exhale, hover the knees 1 or 2 inches above your mat. Inhale to launch forward. And exhale back. Downward facing dog. Looking forward, let's bring our feet slowly back up to our hands. And with a bend in the knees, flat back. Rising up high, extended mountain. And hands come to heart center. Just to keep the warmth in our body before we go deeper into our hips, let's do a couple of half salutations. Inhale to rise high. Exhale to bow low. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold even deeper. Inhale, rise up high. And hands to heart. Half salutation. We'll do one more. Rise up high. Bow low. Half lift. Forward fold. Rise high. And as your hands come to your heart, let your thumbs touch your sternum. Check in again. Breath here. Awareness here. Contentment, santosha. Let your hips sit back like you're sitting in a chair. Engage your low belly. We're going to go into a twist. So twisting to your right side. You can bring hand or elbow to the outside of that right knee. Bring breath all the way into your low back, your low belly. And from this twisting chair, pick up your left heel. And you got a couple choices. You can either tiptoe your toes back or extend your leg back, finding balance. And the toes can stay down, or you can lift the leg, just challenging yourself here for a little bit of balance. Unwind, let your fingertips touch the floor, tuck those back toes, and we'll drop the knee to the mat. Let your hands come to the inside of your right foot, and then drop that knee out to the side. So you're kind of halfway between a lunge and a pigeon, but your spine is going to stay long. You can plant your hands on the mat and just pull your belly forward. Deep breaths will point you to what's happening in your hips. If you are comfortable here and you'd like a little more, you could place your right hand on the inside of that knee and just give a little press. Fill up with breath, empty out. Nice. Come back to center. Split your hands. Tucking the back toes, we'll lift that knee and we'll move into a twist. So left hand is down either on the floor or a block. Right arm is open in a twist. And you can stay right here, or it might be nice to bring that arm all the way behind you, opening through the shoulders a little more. The head turns to look up. And unwind back to the earth. Pressing into your back toes and your front foot, rise up to high lunge. And then wrap your right hand around your left wrist and gently pull up through that side body. That should be a pretty significant hip flexor stretch. Let it bring a smile to your face. contentment and joy in your body. Let's release that. Bring the hands back to heart center. All right, here's the tricky part. We're going to shift our torso forward and see if you can lift that back leg again. Find a little balance. And slowly step the left foot to meet the right. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Put a bend back in your knees, hands to heart center, and we'll repeat all of that on the left side. So twisting to the left, you can use your hands or elbow. Deepen your breath. This is what we came for, these cleansing breaths, these purifying postures. Let them do their work. Keeping our twist, we'll pick up our right heel and we'll start to either tiptoe or float it back. You can work on this balance, or you can touch your toes down to your mat. Try to tolerate this posture. And then we'll just unwind, set the toes to the mat, set the knee to the ground. Oh, those hips are happy. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot and drop the knee open. We'll stay upright here. So it kind of feels like you're dragging your belly forward, pulling yourself forward as that knee opens. Bring your left hand to your left knee gently, if you like, to press a little deeper. Give your breath more places to move into. There's lots of room in your body that doesn't always see breath. And coming back to center, split your hands. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and moving into a twist. Right hand down on a block or the mat. Left arm lifts. And you can choose reaching up or this half bind. I kind of like the half bind because you can press with the back of your hand to open your shoulders a bit more. So you choose. Body long, back leg lifted. Deep breaths. And we'll unwind that arm all the way around. Setting the left foot back this time. Let's go to downward facing dog. Coming up onto the tippy toes, we'll take our little vinyasa. Exhale, knees close to the mat. Inhale, launch forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's raise the right leg high, and we're moving into pigeon. So if you already know that pigeon doesn't feel good to your knees, go ahead and have a seat and take a figure 4. Otherwise, right knee to right wrist. Scoot your left knee back a little farther. And you can just check in. I'm going to give you plenty of time here so you can stay tall. You can choose being on elbows, forearms, or lower down to give your head a pillow. So whatever you've chosen, see if you can let go of any holding that you're doing. We tend to hold ourselves out of this posture. So maybe a blanket rolled up under your hip would help hold you so you don't have to clench. Observing yourself in this posture. Where is there resistance, pushing away, or holding back? Where do you notice a desire for something to be different than it is? And just see if you can move into a space of toleration, tolerance. And notice that that kind of feels in itself like gritting your teeth and bracing. So with a long exhale, can you move closer to acceptance? Maybe even contentment. Can you be content here? It's like this now. We'll take 3 more slow breaths in pigeon. And when you're ready to come out, plant your hands, tuck your toes, sweep your leg high, move your hip around, give it some new blood flow. And when you're ready, let's take our special vinyasa for the day. Inhale to your toes, exhale to your knees, inhale forward, then exhale down dog, and we'll take pigeon on the second side. So left leg lifts. And draw the knee to the wrist unless you're taking a seated version of pigeon. Walk your right knee back a bit. And then explore upright, halfway down, or all the way down, resting your head. And on this side, I'll show the seated version for anyone that isn't familiar. Close your eyes and take a tour inside your body to find resistance. And when you find that, can you move on that continuum toward tolerance? And then acceptance and contentment. And you might find it's possible to even embrace the discomfort, to view it as a teacher, a message, a necessary communication with your body. Deepen the breath, deepen the awareness, the presence here. Noticing tendency to get drawn back out into the noise and pull yourself back here. There's so much magic happening right here, right now. Don't miss it. Rumi says, don't go off sightseeing. Stay here. Take 3 more deep, slow breaths in pigeon. And when you've taken that 3rd breath, you can release by planting your hands, tucking your toes, and sweeping that left leg up. Give it some movement. Shake it out. Let's take one more final vinyasa. Inhale way up onto your tippy toes. Exhale, hover your knees. Inhale, launch forward. Come up onto your big toes. And exhale, downward facing dog. Big audible breath out. Let's lower both of our knees. And some of you might have been able to guess that frog pose is coming since we are talking about inner thighs and discomfort. So let's fold the edges of our mat in to give us a little extra padding for the inner knees. Come onto the hands and knees and then start to widen the knees as wide as you can. And you're going to kind of wiggle, inching out your knees. You're on the insides of your knees. You're going to flex your feet and take your feet a little wider if you can. You do have the option to stay up here, but see about coming down a little bit lower with your torso. So onto elbows or stacking a block or your fists. Give yourself a pillow. I chose possibly the most uncomfortable pose for this practice of tolerance. So while you might not experience joy here, maybe you can just hang out with tolerance and inch toward contentment. This pose allows us to notice that our pushing back, our pushing away actually causes more discomfort. Our resistance can cause even more pain. And so notice what happens when we surrender with a breath to what is. It's like this now. We know that it's all temporary. Your teacher will eventually cue you out of this pose. But no sense being there yet because we're not there yet. There's a lesson to learn here. Deepen your breath. Let go of one more little thread of tension somewhere in your body. Trust. Take one more deep breath in frog pose and exhale loud and long. Hands come to the mat. The time has arrived to release. Inch your knees back in. Go ahead and unfold your mat, turn sideways, and lower yourself down onto your back. And we'll take one knee in each hand, and you get to just stir up, knees wide and back in. One front, one goes away. Just really mix up your knees like a blender, like an electric mixer. Feel your body leaning and rolling, just stirring up the energy around the hips. And then we'll move into waterfall. So if you'd like to actually move to a wall and place your legs up the wall, you can. Or you can bring a block or even your fists underneath you. I kind of like the flattest edge of a block, biggest edge. And our legs go up the imaginary wall. Arms at your sides, eyes soft. And now let's cease the control of breath and just start to watch breath. Observing an inhale Inspire, inspiration. The inhale. And the exhale, expire. Just observe inspiration and expiration. Wiggle your toes, flex and point your feet, circle your ankles. And then put a bend in your knees, let your feet slowly come to the earth. Remove any props. And then glide your heels out to the corners of your mat, feet flop open. Extend your arms off the edges of your mat, palms turned up. Let your shoulder blades be flat on the floor, your hips even. Gently turn your head to each side until you find the place where it rests most easily. Relax your forehead. Soften the temples. Feel the space behind your eyes softening. Release your jaw. Let your tongue come away from the roof of your mouth. Relax your neck, your shoulders, arms and hands. Relax your torso, your hips, legs and feet. Rest here, observing inspiration and expiration. Allow your next inhale to be a little deeper and fuller. Your next exhale to be like a sigh with an open mouth. Begin to put movement into your fingers and your toes. And start some stretches that feel delicious to your body. Perhaps a yawn or a big sigh as you roll to one side. When you're ready, start to find your way back to a seat. And let your hands find each other in front of your heart in a gesture of gratitude. And we'll close this practice with the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "I do not like the word tolerance, but I cannot find a better one. Love pushes you to have, to the faith of others, the same respect that you have for your own." May we leave our mats today with less resistance, more tolerance, maybe even the advanced work of contentment and joy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.